Welcome back, IWC. Welcome back, pro wrestling fans, to Chaos Corner. It's your old buddy, the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy, and I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. We're here for part 3 of the Fighting Words-Glossary. That's right, fans. Go back out and check here on the YouTube page for part 1 of the Fighting Words. We just finished up part 2. Now this is part 3 of the Fighting Words-Glossary. I've referred to a lot of different people over my 50 years, my years in the business, and different terms that we've used, researched, and we've done a lot of homework for this, and including referring to A Complete Idiot's Guide to Pro Wrestling, a match made in heaven, written by Captain Lou Albano and Burt Randolph Sugar, way back over 20 years ago. So fans, thanks for jumping back here. Follow me on all social media platforms, as I've said, on the first 2 parts of this series on Chaos Corner of the Fighting Words-Glossary. I appreciate you being here. Follow me on Twitter, at Big Daddy G.O.C., and the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. Hit the profile link. That will knock you over here to Guardian of Chaos on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, at The Guardian of Chaos. Follow me on Facebook, at Protigio Fidelis El Guardian. My gimmick, and of course my persona on Facebook, Jay Brony. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Gab. And of course, on Rumble as well. All social media platforms, subscribe, hit the bell, email me, inbox me, go back and check out. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos on the YouTube channel, Guardian of Chaos. We left off on part 2. We were talking about the Fighting Words-Glossary, and we went with turn is, I think, where we left on part 2. So picking it up here, let's jump right back into the fray. It's a beautiful day. We're live to tape 20 feet, 25 feet below the surface of the earth here for the show. Again, I couldn't do it without you fans. I'm glad you're here. We're having one hell of a time. Part 3 of the Fighting Glossary. The Fighting Words-Glossary. We ended off on turn. To change from a bad guy into a good guy, or vice versa, angles are often set up by turns. We understand that. That's where we left off part 2. Turnbuckle, the padded posts that are set up at the 4 corners of a wrestling ring to which the ropes are attached. And you remember George the Animal Steel. Google it, YouTube it, go back and check out what the animal used to do to the turnbuckles with that green tongue. Work, which is what we're doing right here in Chaos Corner. Content is king on this channel. We'll apply it to the pro wrestling world in the Fighting Words-Glossary. Work. Any practice that is not legit. A match or an inquiry can be worked in order to give a wrestler some time off. It's a work, baby. Don't you get it? It's a work. Now you get it. If you don't know, now you know. Work rate. Different. Pay attention. That's right, a Fighting Words-Glossary. And we have 3 different parts, each one of them about 20 minutes. This one here, the ending, I'm going to throw in some local news. That's for this Saturday Night Live. You're not going to want to miss this, fans. So stay tuned as we finish off the Fighting Words-Glossary. Work rate. An approximate ratio of good wrestling to rest holds in a match or in a wrestler's overall performance. Fans, those are the words from the Fighting Words-Glossary. Those are the definitions. Those are the terms. We started off on part 1. We went to part 2. I'm glad you're here for part 3 of Chaos Corner on the Fighting Words-Glossary. We covered everything from babyface to blading to blowing up to the booker, the bump. We covered Carney. We covered do the job. We covered face. We covered exposing the business. We talked about getting heat and getting over and the gimmick. We talked about being a ham and egger, hard way juice. We talked about heat, heel, a hooker. We talked about the hot tag, doing the job, a jobber, kayfabe. All on part 1 and part 2. We talked about legit. We talked about being a mark. We talked about paper. We talked about the pop. We talked about even the potato. And of course, the bump, the ring boy, the ring rats, the ring post. We did cover it all. We talked about the cell, the art of the cell, the shooter, the squash match, being stretched. We covered it all on the Fighting Words Glossary and ended up with It's a Work, baby, right down to here. So I can't thank you guys enough for being here. Like I said, this is No Shave November. We are live to tape. I'm hoping to get all 3 parts out this week, definitely before this Saturday night live. Saturday, the 13th of November, 2021. Fans, sit back and we're going to end off part 3 with this. Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, not Rumble in Paradise, but the notes that I do have and the announcements where I will be doing the commentary and play-by-play with the Prodigy, talking Tommy Saban at the Greater New Haven JCC here in the Nutmeg State, the Constitution State, if you will, live with a 7 p.m. bell time for an unbelievable event, perhaps the biggest event of the year, the biggest event in PAPW company history. And that would be for juvenile diabetes and Team CC. Type 1 to none, round 3 for Team CC and juvenile diabetes. Now, all tickets will be available at the door. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, the JDRF. A big shout out to our buddy Caesar and Team CC, unbelievable people behind this event, huge supporters of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Unbelievable lens and photography. You're not going to want to miss this show. And what greater cause for no better cause. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bell time, live. And we know who the Paradise 4 is. The name on the marquee is Pretty Paul Roma. 4 Horsemen, Power and Glory, Pretty Wonderful, Young Stallions. I don't have to tell you that because he maintains the truth. That's Paul Roma. Former WCW and WWF star, WrestleMania, all over the world, tag team champion. I don't have to say any more. Old school. Owner of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. From 84 to 92 in the WWF, and that's one Mario Mancini, who has a huge match this Saturday night. We'll talk about that. Second generation grappler, Mr. Paul Perez. And of course, Big Steve Tracy, a la Big Dave Paradise, the Paradise 4, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. 4 men that worked under the guidance of WWF, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, WCW in Roma's case. Unbelievable, old school. Get down to the training facility. Sign up. You want to become a manager, a valet, a student, a pro wrestler. Live out your dream. Have a party. Rent it out. Have your own private gig. You can do all of that at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling on all social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling and official Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, official PAPW. Again, Fight TV, the whole 9 yards. The company's been in existence since 2014 with, again, what other organization in independent pro wrestling, because we know what's going on in the wrestling world with all the releases and Ring of Honor and so on and so forth, AEW, WWF, MLW, WWE, NWA, New Japan, we understand. But where else are you going to get 4 guys with that experience and where they worked and coming from that history? I don't have to sell that to you. Here's what we have this Saturday night live and what I'm talking about. Thank you for being here. This is part 3 of Chaos Corner, and we covered the Fighting Words Glossary, but this is local, this is live, and this will be this weekend. Here's the lineup that is announced going into this Saturday, November 13th for Type 1 to none. For the Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling Heavyweight title, the Uruguayan sensation Matias De Napoli defends against Colossal Mike Law for the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title. Matias has fought them all. He's holding on to that title. The face of the organization. That right there is worth the price of admission alone. For the PAPW Tag Team titles, unbelievable first time ever matchup. The challengers, RJ Rude insanely rude. Zane Bernardo. That's right. They're back. And they take on the defending tag team champions, Sean and Jay the Haven. Sean Knight and Jay Onyx. This is going to be a match. If you didn't go back to the last couple of matches and see them live and see the latter match where the PAPW champions, House of Pain, then lost the titles to the Haven? That right there will go down in the history of this company. So for this match, first time ever, the Haven against Insanely Rude for the PAPW tag team titles. This right here is a main event anywhere in the Northeast New England or across the country in the independent scene. Those two matches right there. Let's not forget, the Intercontinental title is on the line as Kylon King, the reigning defending champion, the fastest, hottest rising star in the independents, takes on Perfect Perkins. Now, Kylon King has held on to the title. He's in incredible shape. He's expanding and growing by leaps and bounds. What does Perfect Perkins have in store at Type 1 to None this Saturday Night Live for PAPW? That's going to be an unbelievable matchup. As you can see, all the gold, all the titles are on the line. The United States title, the King of Paradise, and the current United States champion, number one Ichiban. Konnichiwa to all my friends on the Pac Rim. Ichiban defends the title against mainstay, especially recently right now, making big waves in Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and one Jay Bougie. That's right. I said Jay Bougie. Let's see what Bougie can do against the King of Paradise, who is now currently the United States Heavyweight Champion. Is that unbelievable? Ichiban is a force to be reckoned with in Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Here is another big one for the Alley Fights Championship. Now, we're just coming off Friday Night Alley Fights this past weekend. I saw the video. You saw the pictures. They're posted on social media. Former WWE veteran, WWF veteran from 84 to 92. I already covered it in the beginning here. My good friend, my former podcast partner, my former color commentary partner, the man who was responsible for the origins of my original training in 1984. And like I said, the current owner, Mario Mancini, puts his career on the line against the current Alley Fights champion. Again, probably one of the hottest, fastest rising stars in the business right now. Part of the Miracle Generation, along with the Haven and Kylon King, Dustin Flash Waller. It's student versus teacher. Mario, at damn near 55 years old, is putting his career on the line, his legacy, to finally walk away, leave those boots in the ring and never lace them up again, against his student, Roma-trained, Mancini-brained, the current Alley Fights champion, perhaps one of the best high flyers as part of the Miracle Generation. Again, I'm rambling on here. Dustin Flash Waller. This is a big one. Where else do you get that? The owner, Grasshopper. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Here's another match signed for this weekend. Two of the major stars and mainstays in the independent world of pro wrestling. Mr. Everything. Mr. has accomplished everything in Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. For all you chump suckers out there, Showtime Marcel Williams, the former heavyweight champion, United States champion, Intercontinental champion, inaugural Hercules Hernandez Memorial Tournament winner, Rumble in Paradise winner. That's right, Showtime Marcel Williams in this feud against the former PAPW heavyweight champion. A thorn in the side of Roma, Mancini, and the rest of PAPW, the front office and the fans, with his despicable, disgusting behavior. The 400-pound madman in the best shape of his life, Vlad, in a last man standing match at Type 1 to None, Round 3 for Team CC this Saturday, November 13th, live at the Greater New Haven JCC. Showtime Marcel Williams and Vlad, last man standing. I'm getting chills. The intensity, can you feel it? This is what you have so far in the lineup. All the titles are on the line. And let's not forget, because they're not going anywhere, They ruled Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling for over 700 days. The former 3-time tag team champions, their house, their rules, Nick Payne and Hakim Ali, the House of Pain, will be there this Saturday night. They're not going anywhere. The two 300-pound behemoths, the HOP will be at Type 1 to None, round 3 for Team CC this weekend. And just announced before I came on, in the first time ever intergender matchup, tag team matchup, I believe, that has a long history in it because of the two men on each side that are involved. I believe this could be a first-time tag team intergender at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Lou Jacobs teams up with Karen Bam Bam Choco Thunder to take on, from the Middle East, Zafar Al-Rahihi and one Jessica Nolan. Intergender Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling tag team. Type 1 to None, Team CC. Now, if the names are familiar, former United States Heavyweight Champion, former Tag Team Champion, former member of Pyramids of Power, former member of Collusion, Zafir Al-Rahihi, the way Matt DeCourt says it. That's right, against Lou Jacobs. Lou Jacobs has a long history from the West Coast. Alumni of XPW all over the country. Former member of Collusion. We all know Eminem, Morozov. Hey, listen, things have changed. The winds have changed. We're going into the winter solstice soon. Lou Jacobs is here at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and he has a score to settle with Zafar Al-Rahihi. So that's what you're going to get. Lou Jacobs and Karen Bam Bam, who in my opinion is probably one of the top female athletes and grapplers, not only in the Northeast, tri-state, New England area, but perhaps all of the country. Trained at the legendary Gleason's with Johnny Rods. All over. Grapples men a la China from back in the day. Intergender wrestling, Karen Bam Bam could take on any man in Paradise Alley or in pro wrestling and hold her own. I've seen it. So Lou Jacobs, Karen Bam Bam, and the long history of that arrogant son of a bitch from the Middle East when Saudi Arabia, Zafar, and Jessica Nolan. Now, I don't know a lot about Jess, but if she's teaming with Zafar, there's collusion somewhere. So that's what you have coming up this Saturday Night Live. 7 p.m. bell time, November 13th. The Greater New Haven JCC, here in the Constitution State. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 big matchups. Listen, we'll follow on all the mandates, all the guidelines. Be there. Tickets will be available at the door. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's for a great cause. Team CC, the 3rd year in a row, round 3. And what that family and what that man does and what CC's father does, not only is he an unbelievable photographer, unbelievable person from an unbelievable family, this will be an event to be remembered. Juvenile diabetes, Team CC, Type 1 to None, round 3. It's going to be one hell of a time. Again, heavyweight title, Matthias, Colossal Mike Law. Tag Team Championship, The Haven and Zane Lee Rude. The IC title, Kylon King, Perfect Perkins. For the Alley Fights title, Career versus the title, legend Mario Mancini, and owner of Paradise Alley, and Flash Waller. Last Man Standing, Showtime and Vlad. The United States title, Ichiban and Jay Bushi. The history of Lou Jacobs and Zafar Al-Rahihi in an intergender match now with Karen Bam Bam and Jessica Nolan. And the House of Pain will be in the house, as will Paul Roma, as will yours truly. I'm hoping to see everybody there. A big shout out to everyone. The Professor Rick Del Santo, the Kincaid Files, Don Kincaid, the Fogster, everybody out there. Be there live this Saturday night. You're not going to want to miss it. Hey, even the Saber-Tooth Tiger will be there collecting tickets. Don't you dare miss it. It's going to be an unbelievable event. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I had an unbelievable time. Check out all 3 segments of this. Let's show up, give back, stay faith, keep close to those around you. Follow me on all social media platforms, and let's make it happen. Let's roll. Let's stick together as people, as company, as Americans, and as a country. God bless all of you. Don't you dare miss it.